Hi, this is Gary with MACMOST.com. Here are 10 red flags that can help keep you safe from scams. There are so many different kinds of scams to watch out for today. They can come at you a variety of different ways, like over the phone, text message, email, or even in person. Most of these scams have one or more of the following red flags. A red flag is an indicator that it may be a scam. Note that just because something doesn't include one of these red flags doesn't mean it's legitimate. Likewise, just because something does include one of these red flags doesn't mean it's a scam. These are just indicators, things that should put you on high alert if you spot them. For instance, if you're ever told to use gift cards or cryptocurrency like Bitcoin as a payment method, that's a big red flag that this is a scam. Legitimate agencies and companies don't use gift cards and cryptocurrency for payments. They use regular methods like a credit card, bank card, or a check. Gift cards and cryptocurrency allow scammers to get money from you, and then there's no way for you to pull it back. There's nothing anybody can do once you've given away gift cards or cryptocurrency. In addition, scammers like this because they can't be tracked. Once you've given them the money this way, there's no way to trace them. A more subtle red flag is when you get an email or maybe a text message or phone call, and they don't know your name, even though they claim to be calling about your account or the business you're doing with the company or agency. Any legitimate company or agency is going to know your name and address you that way. But scammers don't usually have this information, so they use generic greetings like "Dear Customer." In addition, the first step in a lot of scams is to send out a mass email or text to a lot of different people. They're often not going to go to the trouble of using some sort of database of names that match the email addresses or phone numbers so they can customize each one. They're just going to send the same message to everyone. They don't care if most people never respond. They only need to get a few responses for their scam to be successful. Now, when you do get an email, a text message, or a phone call, you've got a way to identify who was sending it to you. You could see the from email address or the phone number. Often, this will be generic if you're getting scammed. For instance, a bank wouldn't send you a customer support email through Gmail or Yahoo or Hotmail or something like that. It would come from the bank's legitimate domain. Keep in mind, sometimes scammers will get a little more sophisticated and use a domain, but it's often fake. Like instead of yourbankname.com, it'll be yourbankname-something-something.com. They just make it up so at a glance, it kind of looks real. So pay careful attention. The same for phone numbers. If a phone number is from out of the country, it's probably not from the agency or company you usually do business with. Or sometimes you can just see the phone number and you can just check it to see if it's the actual phone number for the company or agency. Now, it's important with this red flag to not use it to prove it's not a scam, because it's easy for a scammer to fake an email address or phone number. So if it's wrong, it's a good indicator that it's not real. But if it's correct, it doesn't really mean anything. It could still have been faked. Now, this is the one that everybody likes to talk about. If you get an email or a text from a scammer, very often it's got spelling or grammar mistakes in it. Sometimes people like to laugh about these mistakes, and it's a good red flag. If there are a lot of errors, it's probably not legit. Real companies and agencies care more about getting things right. And often scammers are from all around the world, from a different country than you, and may not speak your language as their first language. So that would lead to spelling and grammar mistakes. Also, there's the idea that some scammers may not mind that they have spelling and grammar mistakes. It might filter out a lot of people and just leave them with the ones that aren't paying close attention. And they would rather spend their time trying to scam them than people that are more detail-oriented. Now, this red flag can also be a false positive here because, of course, a scammer can take the time to get all the spelling and grammar correct. Just because it all looks good still doesn't mean it's not a scam. It's just that if there are a lot of spelling and grammar mistakes, it's a red flag and you should be on high alert. If you find these videos valuable, consider joining the more than 2,000 others that support MACMOST at Patreon. You get exclusive content, course discounts, and more. You can read about it at macmost.com/Patreon. Next, we've got the situation where you've been contacted by somebody and now they're asking you for information, usually to confirm your identity. So the scammer may be posing, say, as your bank and may be asking for your bank account number to confirm that they're talking to the right person. Of course, that's not how it works. They shouldn't be asking you for identification, especially if they called you. Keep that in mind. If they initiated contact, then they shouldn't be asking you for additional confirmation. What they're really doing here, of course, is they're trying to get the information from you that they don't actually have. It could be something as simple as, say, your mother's maiden name, or it could be something really important like your social security number, bank account number, things like that. Or what if you feel that this may actually be legitimate and you're not sure how to proceed? Well, what you want to do is just tell the person that you don't feel comfortable talking to them because they contacted you, and you're going to call back the support line for the agency or company directly. And if it's real, they should be happy about that. If they're a scammer, they're probably going to try to keep you on the line and prevent you from calling the actual number. And remember, don't call any number that was given to you by them, like a phone number that came in the email or text message, or one that they give you on the phone to call back. That could just take you right back to the scammer. Now, kind of a variation on this is when they ask you to send them a code. The way this works is that they say they're going to send you a code to confirm that it's really you, and they just want you to read them that number. You'll actually get a code then, and the code seems to be from the real company, and that's usually because it is. This is a common way for a scammer to get into your account when you have two-factor authentication. They're trying to get into the account, and it's sending a confirmation to you because somebody is trying to get into the account. By relaying that number to them, you're allowing them to complete the logon on their end and break into your account. So be on the lookout for this. They ask you to relay a code that's then sent by text message or email or some other way. The code will probably be real, so you can't use that as a way to confirm that it's a scam. But unfortunately, this is kind of similar to techniques that are actually used by companies to confirm it's you. But usually it's when you're calling them, you initiated contact, that they want the identification confirmation, not when they called you. Now, this is kind of an obvious one, but a lot of people still fall for this every day. You get a call telling you that there's an issue with your computer, your network, some technology you've got. And eventually it leads to them asking you to install some software or to do something on your computer to grant them access. Always be thinking about how you were originally contacted. If they called you, you should never follow their instructions to install something or grant them access. They could be really persuasive and could take a lot of time to lead you to this. That's why a lot of people still fall for this. And note that once they get access, you may not notice any difference. Everything may seem fine. And that's because they're not actually going to do something bad to your computer or some account they've gained access to until much later. So if you've fallen victim to this, it's important to take action right away. Change passwords, lock credit reports, have an expert check out your computer to make sure it hasn't been hacked. Now, on the other hand, installing software or granting access is a legitimate way for technical support to help you. So if you've initiated contact, like you've contacted Apple, and it's gone to the point where they're going to try to help you by taking control of your computer, well, it could actually be legitimate in that case. You always have to think about who contacted who. Now, another big red flag to look out for in all scams is some sort of urgency or even threats. This is really common. They want to keep you off your guard. So they want to tell you there's a deadline or due date or there's consequences. Now, legitimate companies and agencies don't behave this way. The person you're usually talking to usually really doesn't care whether or not you pay the bill or do whatever it is you're supposed to do. They're just relaying information to you. They're going to remain professional. If there's actually a due date for something or something is overdue, it's going to be presented to you in a very professional manner. Look for that and look to see if it seems a little bit too threatening or urgent. Also look out for a scammer preventing you from getting more information or talking to more people. For instance, they may tell you that you shouldn't be calling the main office line. They won't know anything and they won't know how to help you, that kind of thing. They may try to prevent you from hanging up. A legitimate agency, a company, they're going to be professional. They're not going to try to keep you on the line if you say you want to talk to somebody else. A really sinister one is if you get an impersonator scam, like, for instance, a grandparent scam, where the person pretends to be a grandchild calling a grandparent asking for help. And usually that goes along with not telling the parents or anybody else about this. Or if it's some sort of serious legal issue or a bill way overdue, and you mention that you want to get professional help with this, they're, of course, not going to want you to talk to anybody else. They want to keep you on the line and just get some money from you. And finally, there's the red flag of needing to send money. Anytime somebody asks you for money over text, email, the phone, or any other way, you always have to consider that a red flag. A very simple example of this is being told that you won some money in a prize or sweepstakes or something, but you have to send some sort of fee first in order to get your prize. Another one is, say, when you're looking for a job and somebody contacts you about a job offer, or maybe you're looking for an apartment and you ask to send in an application. If any of those ask for a fee, that's a big red flag that this is a scam. And it can be a lot more complex. Like, there are scams where you're hired for a job and then suddenly the job involves receiving money from somebody, depositing it in your own account, and then sending the money out to somebody else. Or perhaps just receiving items and then forwarding them on to somebody else. These aren't legitimate jobs. These are scams. You could end up losing a lot of money in these, or maybe not losing any money, but be the one that's found guilty of a crime that you didn't even know was happening. So those are 10 red flags to look out for. If you keep those in mind when getting communications from people, hopefully you'll be able to avoid many of the scams that are out there. Just remember, just because one of these red flags is not there doesn't mean that it's not a scam. And just because one of these red flags is there doesn't mean it is a scam. These are just indicators, things that should put you on alert that something could be wrong. At the very least, do this one thing if you see any of these red flags. Talk to somebody else that you trust about what is going on. They can help you see more clearly if it's a scam or not. Stay safe, and thanks for watching.